My name's Stephen Henson-Tyers. I'm the Senior Data Viz and Automation Manager at Sainsbury's. And I'm here to talk to you about how many BI platforms does a large enterprise like Sainsbury's really need. So I'm part of the Applied Data Analytics team, ADA, which is a centralized function of about 150 talented people, which are dedicated towards delivering data-led products back to the business, driving unbiased insights, democratization of data, and driving a single version of truth reporting. ADA itself is split across 4 functions. So the team I lead is the Data Viz and Automation team, which has over 60 people across 8 squads, driving visualizations and automations back to the business using MicroStrategy. We have a great analytics team driving key insights and analysis on fundamental business issues and questions. A data science team using data to drive algorithmic products, and a product team defining the what and the why of the business and helping drive the priority and keeping the cogs turning. But we are also supported by a brilliant data tech team of more than 155 people, which comprise of 15 plus modelers, over 120 engineers, and 20 in product itself. So collectively, we're over 300 people delivering our vision on data. So I'm going to start with a very simple question. How many products have we sold? It's one of the fundamental questions that as a retailer we ask ourselves on a yearly, monthly, daily, or even intraday basis, right? But however, it's actually a lot more complicated than we realize. The aim of the next 20 minutes is to break down why this is not so much of a simple question as you may think, focusing on Sainsbury's approach to data and how we use MicroStrategy as a strategic tool to deliver on our aims. So I'm going to bring it back. Sainsbury's is over 152 years old. It's a single business, single retail business 152 years ago, built on a single store in 173 Drury Lane, opened up by John James and Sainsbury's and Mary Ann Sainsbury's. We've gone from that to over 600 supermarkets and 800 convenience stores. We have a desire to change the face of retail with things like Uber Eats and Deliveroo at over 200 other stores. With Smart Shop app allowing customers to scan, pack, and go over 1,200 locations. So we're driving innovation all the time, constantly changing the landscape of what we're doing with retail in our supermarkets. But not only that, Sainsbury's is a wider team, a wider family of key trusted brands that give us the customer an enriched experience. So for Argos, we offer, for example, outstanding convenience, choice, and value on our non-food lines. Habitat are delivering innovative and affordable furniture and homewares to the UK. 2, our design-led, excellent quality, great value fashion. Nectar having the UK's biggest loyalty program, and the bank offering an award-winning blend of financial products and attractive rewards for Sainsbury's customers. So it's quite a huge scope in terms of what we define as Sainsbury's. So with that in mind, how do you define sales? So in each one of these large retail areas, we could have a different view of what that question could be in terms of the answer. So to facilitate each one of these, different sources are often needed to answer the question. So for example, finance may have a very P&L view on what a version of sales is, whereas digital may care more about adding things like delivery income or using basket level analysis to understand it by customer segmentation of people using it on the platform, for example. So the digital teams may not be able to use the data sets that have been delivered by finance. So often teams are then having to create their own data marts or their own data areas to drive their own reporting, which leads to different versions of the truth. And that can persist across all the different areas of a traditional retailer. And we see this actively across Sainsbury's. But not only that, with Sainsbury's being a food-centric business, and you say have Argos and Nectar, they all will have different, or could potentially have different versions of what those answers are. So you've not only got that problem existing in one ecosystem of say Sainsbury's, you've got it multiplied over the different areas. And then we've gone a step further in that to build on synergies, we've then combined these teams together. So you've got different tools, different technologies, different ways of processing the data in joined up teams among the business. And this creates a very difficult environment for us to actually generate the answer on how much we've sold our products, which results in this kind of spaghetti junction of reporting. So we have multiple databases underneath, all hosting different data marts of information going on, surfacing up in multiple reports or data sets that are often downloaded or put into Excel files, etc., and then delivered in multiple using different processes and teams and technology. It's a mess often when you look underneath the hood of it all. So what do companies usually do in this example is they try to introduce a more kind of agile tool. So they often see the issue of the fact that we've got spaghetti junctions of data going here, there, and everywhere. But we need to get to a new report or a combined view of this. So quite often teams will introduce other dashboarding tools and ETL processes to try and come up with the end product without thinking about the additional spaghetti junction that's happening underneath. So this further perpetuates different technology stacks. You get an output, but it comes at the cost of what the true golden fact or the single version of truth of that fact is. The effort to update definitions across all of those reporting ecosystems is usually complex. You'd have to replace the values in all of the ecosystems as opposed to just one. And it's also often built with different teams owning the administration of the different areas. So it becomes complex to understand how to resolve issues or challenges or change things in the future. So in our approach, a few years ago, Sainsbury's undertook a huge task of looking at our current data and analytics landscape. And we took it on ourselves to reimagine what a true data-led organization could look like. This has resulted in one of our key projects called Aspire. It stands for a strategic platform for insights and reporting. And the idea is it's a clean solution built on innovative tools, technology, scaling, to rebuild our key data assets in a future-proof way, and again, to focus on scale. So important in our approach, the important thing about our approach is that it's supported by the whole business. So be that top down with a viewpoint that we need to democratize our data, drive a single version of the truth and golden facts and metrics. And the important thing of centralizing our budget for key tools and development activity. So only can we empower and get behind a single tool, for example, and put a focus upon a single tool. It also stops those kind of elements of pet projects going on that may perpetuate an environment where you're again building up that complexity and spaghetti junction feel. The second aim of it would be, or the second area that is important in this, is the business buy-in. So that the business has to be open to changing the processes, to valuing the impact of data, and to be truly bought into data-led decisioning. A really important arm of what we're doing is to ensure that what we're doing is safe and secure. So the governance is a key factor in delivering this vision. So that rolls up in truly data-defined definitions. So we all wrap around what sales is and the definition of that, and we all agree to it, and we all know where it is and where we can get it. So we're using tools like Elation to kind of catalog our data, for example. Quality checked and assured data, so we have it really clear that the data that is being landed in our environments is clean, is secure, is safe, is what it's supposed to be. And how we're delivering it is also really important. So we're sure that we're doing it in a safe and secure manner. So we're not exposing our data to the wrong people or too much information to our colleagues, for example. Where we come in is the agile analytics side. So we are part we deliver as part of cross-functional teams. So we don't deliver as data viz in isolation. We deliver as a team wrapped up in true end-to-end delivery. So looking at how we can utilize all the skill sets within the teams to deliver on a way forward. We use agile principles so that we are, quick to market on things that we are delivering. And I think one of the most important things in our area is that we're all wrapped around the single strategic vision across all areas. So we are very clear around what we are trying to do and our end state and goals. So with that in mind, what if we could reimagine reporting? What if we could take that spaghetti junction of an image and rethink it with those values and principles that I just shared with you? So we could have Snowflake as our scaling database solution, where our brilliant engineering teams are bringing all that data and democratizing and putting it into a scalable solution. We've got MicroStrategy Cloud. So you've heard just before our MicroStrategy Cloud is built around scaling and utilizing cloud technology to deliver a platform that's fit for purpose for the future, not just for now. That platform being able to deliver through multi-channel of the way, all the different channels that our end users are expecting to use and digest that data. And I'll go into that a little bit later in terms of what that would mean. Using the semantic layer, the metadata information underneath that holds the value of truth, the single version of truth, the golden facts of metrics that's persistent across it all to our stakeholders. And consistently, so it's the same numbers going across all of our stakeholders in a controlled and measured manner. So why are each one of those channels important? Well, if we look at, for example, the web access side, we've identified two key use cases in that. So we have the traditional web access of building and sharing their own dossiers, dashboards, etc., and data points. So to be able to use that semantic layer and the metadata layer to drive their own version of reporting, to be truly self-serve in what they're doing, and to be able to use the platform to drive subscriptions and to send, to be able to communicate those dossiers and visuals out to the wider people to control the element of access. Excuse me. Library, we've also found really important in this. Not only is it a really nice UI for our customers to go on to, but it's also a way to cut across multiple projects whilst we're developing our single central project. So it's a great way to be project agnostic, to drive easy navigation. It's that element of like Netflix type view of going through our dossiers and picking the things that are relevant to you, to filter, to navigate to the right area. And the other side is that it's our read-only access to that. So the one before is more for our developer and more power users. The library is much more a read-only, a digester of information. Multi-platform and different ways of extracting the data is really important. So we have over 11,000 colleagues utilizing our reports on their Zebra devices, on their mobile devices within store, and digesting content, as well as our hundreds of store support colleagues digesting it on Mac. So it's important that we have a way in which we can design responsively that perpetuates through different areas, but that we also fully connected up with the data throughout it all. And the good thing is MicroStrategy enables all avenues of areas that we are looking to interact with the data at all levels of our business. The other side of what we're doing, and I'm glad to hear in the intro they were talking about embedding and the REST API service and Python codifying access. We've spotted huge areas of improvement in what we could do with the data. So we are looking at embedding we've got several projects on the go at the moment, embedding visualizations into applications. So to use the visualization tools within our applications that we are building to could be to suppliers, it could be to people within our store support centers, for example. So they don't have to, a couple of things, they don't have to rebuild all the libraries that you would need to build your own out of the box visualizations. It comes out of the packaging with MicroStrategy, so you can use the functionality within MicroStrategy to visualize the data coming through. But what we've also found is that they can use the data and the metadata so that the single version of truth of sales, for example, can be perpetuated across all the applications, be it in the visualization being embedded or the data being extracted out from the tool. We've also seen a brilliant use case in both analytics and data science, where quite often analysis or insights are often built, and the question is, where do I get my sales from, and what do I need to filter sales by, for example. All that information is hosted within our semantic layer. So we are looking at building methods of taking data out of MicroStrategy, or using semantic layer to take data out of Snowflake, we should say, to then convert it and model it within Python, and to put it back into either Snowflake or MicroStrategy to then visualize the output. So it's about integrating MicroStrategy in all the avenues that we would want to make it a fully integrated platform for our visualization needs. And the idea, the whole thing, the reason why we are pushing for this, and we are actively developing in this area, is because that sales definition at the bottom right hand side, which is in Snowflake and has been codified in MicroStrategy Cloud in our single project, ever changes, and we are looking at changing the definition of sales within our reporting estate. Version 2.0 comes in, it is one change in the semantic layer in the project, and that perpetuates across all of those platforms outside for all of the end users. And so they see the true golden fact answer of that information. So how's it going? Well, as I said, this project's been going on for a few years, and we are ramping up the amount of reports that are available on MicroStrategy Cloud. So there are a couple of key factors driving this. For example, we are decommissioning old reporting instances and moving them over to MicroStrategy. For example, we had Excel-based reporting going out to our stores. Now we have security filtered information going out to store devices where they only see the information they're supposed to see. It's delivered in the method they want to see. And also they don't have to print it out and carry it with them. They can access it on their device anytime they like. And so that's resulted in over 1 million views of our data at one point in time on all of our dossiers and dashboards being used in MicroStrategy Cloud. And that's an upwards trend that's carrying on going as we decommission more and build more within our central projects. But just one thing I want to leave you on is how important that everybody is aligned to that single strategic vision. What you see now is our usage on one of our mobile reporting platforms. And before the big peak and before the label of VPN, we only were able to access it whilst on the corporate network. When we removed that barrier, because we deemed it less risky than what the teams were doing to circumvent the VPN barrier, we found the usage increase sevenfold amongst the stores. Now, if you take a step back, that is 7 times more our colleagues are using data in a safe and secure manner to drive their business decisions on the shop floor or in SSC. So this had to be, we got this by everybody being aligned to the strategic vision. We accepted the risk and made sure that with MicroStrategy's increased security in the way that it can do it in a safe and secure manner with things like SSO integration, SAML, etc. We were able to deliver this in a safe and secure manner to our colleagues, and our colleagues were able to utilize the benefits of this and drive more data-led decisioning on the shop floor. That's it for me. I just want to say thank you very much for listening to me, and if there's time, I'm open the floor up to any questions.
Here we go from Peter. Hi, Peter. Peter True. How many teams and what is the makeup, Stephen? What sort of investment have you been able to secure to drive this forward?
Well, the investment has been multi-million in our capital. So it's in the tens of millions. in terms of the amount of drive to build the data platform in our data tech side. In terms of the teams in Data Viz, in my area, building reporting on MicroStrategy, we have 8 teams, one of which the team is a central, more of a central function, looking at how we build the capability across all teams to make sure that we have the right documentation in place, the right processes, the right the right standards in place and process to apply. So we've got, as I said, eight brilliant teams within Data Viz, 8 again in analytics, and a lot of resource within data science and product within Ada, but underpinned by 155 tech colleagues, as I said before, driving the data delivery, which is, that's where the significant effort is in terms of redefining and recreating all of our golden facts and metrics.
Okay, thank you, Stephen. And then just one other question. My organization currently runs multiple BI platforms. It's not by design, more inherited legacy through lack of strategy, but the cost resource required to change is greater than management is willing to commit to. How did you, Sainsbury's, create the business case to undertake the transformation from your decentralized heterogeneous platforms to the single centralized Aspire platform? We've got 1 minute, Stephen. It's a big question. But
that's a very big question in a minute. I suppose the key thing to say is we did have a central business case, and it was all around driving the use of data to power efficient decision making and algorithms, whilst also incorporating how we decommission legacy platforms and the costs associated to it. Within how do we stop the viz state that happens with other BI systems and platforms? Well, what we do is we by central funding and developing a central budget to make it so that the platform we have the right thing in place, we have the right admin team, we have the right scale to enable teams to come on board, to create the opportunity to allow other teams that are using other technologies to come on board, to see the fact that it can be used and they can transition from A to B. But I'd like to just concentrate on or focus on the fact that my team also goes out to the business to try and train and coach other areas to say, this is what we can do. What are you trying to do? Understand the what and the why, to then try to get them onto that journey around how they could also be implemented. Because I think there is often seen technical barriers towards it, when in reality, when you break it down and showcase it, what you can do, and the fact that it's actually quite easy and plug and play, those barriers quickly go away as soon as they start using the tool.
Yeah, brilliant. Thank you, Stephen. There are other questions. What we'll do is we'll circle around those later and get some responses over to those individuals that have asked the questions and to the audience in general. So thank you, Stephen, much appreciated. We'll move swiftly over to Dirk for our next customer presentation.